underclassman, did you feel like you were involved in and included in the mock election?
I did think that I was involved in the mock election because they're really inclusive and making sure that everyone went to the events and making sure that people understood their policies.
I wasn't like directly involved in the campaigns, but like I went to like the events and stuff.
I felt like I was included in it a lot by the candidates, but I just feel like they would have had like more questions taken from the underclassmen in the debate.
Whenever I went to one of the events, the candidates would always come up to me as well as the seniors, make sure that I knew what was going on, ask me questions, give me food. It was a lot of fun.
I feel like the mock election, like just like in essence, just targets seniors, like makes seniors slightly more involved.
I didn't attend as much as I think I should have because I don't know. They're in the morning or they're at lunch, and I have clubs and things or like tests that I need to study for. But I did attend a couple of them, and I liked them because it wasn't just like here, take my food. Like like me for this. It was more learn about the policies.
They should have brought more people.
The different events that I attended and the different stuff that they gave to us and the things that were on the posters and everything, I feel like I got to get a good understanding of both of the candidates and like different issues that they are for and against.
Really, the only thing that pertained to me was when someone added me on Snapchat, and that was pretty much all the information I got from it. Mostly because I've not been in advisory, nor have I been to any of the assemblies due to extracurricular activities.
I don't know if it would be possible for like an 8th period thing, like maybe once during the week.
I learned a lot about the candidates, and I think that they really tried to keep the underclassmen informed.
But I think I learned a lot from the debate that they had, and also listening to the people during school kind of walking around and saying things.
Really, the only one that I was even informed about was Beth G, so that's about it.
I learned like one thing about Grossman, that's about it.
As each day went on, getting to sort of know more about each candidate. One day I'd kind of be this way, and another day I'd kind of be the other way.
Was there any event in particular that swayed your vote?
Honestly, probably the debate. Before the debate, I had my mind set on one candidate, and afterwards, my mind was completely changed.
So it was a lot actually food-based.
I liked the kickoff of it because they really pushed their statements. Even though you hadn't known anything at first, you knew they were both really into what they were doing.
There was a few policies that were gonna make me go towards one side. It was the death penalty, and then how they felt about incarcerating police officers and stuff like that. So during that one AACC meeting where they just talked about how each candidate felt about the Black Lives Matter and how Krasner was endorsed about the Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, that really just swayed how I felt.
Do you think that having a mock election will increase the chances that you will vote in real elections as a young adult?
Yes, I do, because then I'll know more about how the process works.
Definitely. It's master and you do homework and study and stuff, so you don't really have time to think about stuff. But here you get to learn about it.
And it's a good habit to start. Good to tell people that their vote matters.
Definitely. I got my mom to vote too.
That's awesome.
Plus, yeah. I feel like I started knowing nothing, and now I just know so much about the DA office.
But I feel like getting to see this mock election play out and knowing that there's kids in my grade who get to vote and got to participate in this election, it also sort of put things into more of a relatable perspective and gave me an idea of what it will be like when I get to vote in the spring.
I was the treasurer of the Beth Grossman campaign, and I had to record the cost of items that people brought to the campaign.
My main role in the campaign was to organize both the debate and the kickoff for the whole mock election.
For polling, it was just me and about 3 or 4 other people.
I ended up doing policy, and that eventually evolved into more of a overarching supervisor, I guess.
I worked on the Krasner campaign, and I was the candidate. I was one of the candidates, so what that entailed was kind of just
being a mouthpiece for all of the work that everyone else in the campaign was doing.
Our goals really started out by making a well-organized campaign that would put the most amount of information into the students' hands when they voted.
I would say that the main goal of our campaign was to break down partisanship in our school and kind of like break down party lines.
It essentially started off as just victory. Like, there's a whole mindset of let's be the first Republican candidate in Masterman, like in an election with two parties to win. When we finally got Grossman, we were like, oh, she actually might be the better candidate.
Another goal of the campaign was to help each person involved in the campaign like develop their leadership, because we all had to be a leader of one main event.
We had a few strategies. One was to really get the information out there and kind of make it as policy-based as possible, because we thought that our policy would be really appealing to the Masterman audience. The label Republican, probably not so much.
The idea that a person in our class came up with to not put the parties on the polls. Because there was no party to be seen, you couldn't blindly vote on party if you didn't know beforehand which party the candidate belonged to.
We started with campaign events in the mornings where sometimes I'd be shaking hands at the door and we had specific people who would be relaying information. We had cards to hand out, but we didn't do any big speeches. But then at lunch, we had everybody sit down and I would go and talk to them first, and then we would give them food after and keep having a conversation on the issues.
Every day we had a guide sheet set up by the research group. Using that information, we were able to streamline what the things that we wanted to say and the things that we wanted to give out to everybody. Even though I didn't personally work with the research group, I was able to give out information about policy and information about the ideas that Grossman supported. And also the handouts that were given out throughout the week also influenced a lot of people into coming to events and reading more information. When they came back into meetings and came back into events, they were able to discuss things and come up to the candidate and talk about things that interested them and things that they had questions about from the pamphlets.
Something I did as a candidate was kind of like go up to people and be like, so why aren't you voting for Beth Grossman? Or something like that. And kind of just see like the problems that people had with anything that they may have assumed with her campaign or her platform, and kind of just systematically like work those kinks out. As
a Grossman campaign, our attempt wasn't to bring up like topics such as civil asset forfeiture and the death penalty, but when they were brought up, we would go as a class and discuss how we wanted to address it.
I think one way that we tried to push that idea of no party affiliation was with she's not a Democrat, she's not a Republican, she's a Philadelphian.
Polling was a bit difficult just because we were kind of short on numbers during the morning. Some people wouldn't be here on time, and a lot of people were busy with the events and giving out information.
One thing that I felt was a bit annoying was that some people didn't tell me what they brought, so I had to go to each group individually to ask.
During the kickoff, it was a lot harder than the debate because we had to we reached the kickoff without knowing what we were supposed to be doing. It was like being thrown into water without knowing how to swim.
Talking to the students was definitely something I had to work towards. I also didn't thoroughly enjoy making speeches. I loved when people came to me with the questions that they wanted to know about. I was really good at knowing politics and knowing what I was talking about, but I wasn't as good as conveying it to mass amounts of people.
A lot of the discussion I had was with the other class and how things should go on both the debate day and the kickoff day. I was forced to like take a sideline and find a more middle ground approach.
I think the whole Masterman energy is always very competitive, especially for our grade. And so coming into it, there were very passionate people on both sides. So there were times when rules were broken. I felt like a lot of the time I was kind of tattletelling on the other team, which was a little frustrating.
We had to make clearer schedules, make more papers, and people from kind of all different areas of the campaign had to come together.
It was a learning experience throughout the whole thing, for me especially.
When we asked who would you vote for today, about 83% of our survey people said they would vote for Krasner. After a couple of events and we wanted to get some feedback, we asked who would they vote for now, and most of them have changed their votes, and it became 63% for Grossman and only 37% for Krasner.
I think overall our campaign was a success. I think we definitely had a lot of issues to work through, but in the end I think we gave people the information that mock election is for, made people politically involved, and something that was really important to me at the beginning was making sure people understood how local politics can really have an effect on the country, and I think we achieved that goal.
I think it was a success, but I feel like some people voted based on popularity and like if they were friends or if they knew the candidate.
On the feedback that we got, the Grossman campaign were more organized and had a more friendly atmosphere. And I guess some people just like their issues more, but which is pretty surprising considering how our school is pretty liberal.
One of my questions in my survey was, what is one word you would use to describe mock election? And most of the words were very positive. I think all of them were, and they were words like fun and exciting and interesting. And I also asked if people were then interested in taking AP Government because of mock election, and most of them said yes. And it was exciting to see that we could make a change in the way students thought about government.